Greetings humans, welcome back. In this video we're going to go ahead and begin making the static HTML template a dynamic PHP homepage. And so I began putting together a plan of action or mind map, and the link to this will be available. I'm not going to spend too much time going into it in this video. But essentially, as you can see, these are the folders that we're going to have. So we're going to have a parts folder that's going to consist of the menu, the slider, the footer, and the widgets. We're going to have a systems folder that's going to consist of our functions and our database code. We're going to have an assets folder that consists of the images, JavaScript, and CSS files. And then the main file is the index.php file. So we're about to switch that HTML file to a PHP file. And what that's going to allow us to do is write server-side programming in PHP. And that allows us to talk to the database and do all other sorts of things on the server before the actual HTML is displayed in the browser. And so let's get started. So first of all, if we're back here in Dreamweaver, and as you can see right now, we are dealing with a .html page. And so I am going to, first of all, close out index.html locally. I'm about to delete, and you don't have to delete it. You could, if you wanted to preserve, you could, like I would put like the little curly, I'm going to say don't update. I don't want to update anything. But I'm going to put the little curly symbol will just let me know that that's a backup. Okay? So you can prefix your file name with some sort of symbol or word or something that will remind you that this is a backup. If you're going to have multiples, you might include like a date or even, something else. But now here on the server, I'm going to replace HTML with PHP. And by doing this, now when the index file is loaded, that .php extension tells the server to, look in the file for any PHP code. And then if you find any, send it over to the Zen processor to, evaluate it and construct the results. So that's important because we're going to break this. Convoluted. Like, look at all this code. Like all of this. Like everything is just right here. We're going to break this up. And so right now we're starting out. We've got how many? We've got 481 lines. We're going to have a fraction of that by the time we're finished breaking this apart. So let's just make sure that the index page still works, since we changed it to index.php instead of index.html. And yes, it still works. So let's begin by breaking this apart. This is what we're going to achieve in this video. Logo in menu area, and then the header section, highlight and headlines, headline and highlights. So that's this area here. We want the logo to be the Sped by Me logo, and we're going to create a menu.php file. So you see that right here. We're going to create a menu.php file so that we can have one file that contains all of our menu labels and links. So let's dive on in here. So when you buy a template, you'll notice most of the time, not all the time, it's up to the developers or the programmers, but you'll notice that they'll leave comments. And these comments can be indicators to what is going on in that particular block of code. And so right here, we've got logo. We've got nav brand, nav bar brand, and I'm going to just hit this little arrow and collapse that whole thing. And I'm going to click it, cut it out, save, and let's just go back and see what happened. Bam. So now we don't have the logo. So we now know that that block of code is that logo. Here we have a button. This is the whole nav bar. Okay, so let's collapse this. And so like this right here, from here, this, if I put right here, so this entire highlighted block is probably this entire highlighted area of the page. So let's go ahead and collapse this. And in fact, this part right here is also containing, so I'm going to just take all of this and save. And let's refresh. So now we've got that whole nav bar gone. All right. And so now inside of here, we're going to create a folder. So we have parts, and then we have menu.php. Okay. And so let's go ahead and right here, I'm just going to switch to the local view. Right here on our local view, I'll go ahead and make a new folder. I'll name it parts. And then inside of here, a new file for menu.php. All right. Let's open this up. Inside of here, I'm going to just put all of the code from that menu. And then save it. So now, if we look back on our remote server, we should see we've got a folder parts, and we've got menu.php right here. So Dreamweaver automatically synchronized what I did locally with the remote server. And so just to show, if I refresh, we're still not going to see this menu. And that's because I have to come back over here in the index.php, and now I have to include that PHP file. So I'll go ahead and make the tag for the PHP. You can either do it this way, which is shorthand, or you could do it this way, which is the old school way, but I'll do it shorthand. So I'll say PHP include, and then parts is the directory, and the file I want to include is menu.php. All right, let's save and refresh, and we should see the menu again. Voila. So now let's take a look at a particular functionality of Dreamweaver that you will find useful as a developer. So there's a tool called Snippets, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to build up snippets as we go along throughout this video. That way, anyone watching this video, if you want, you can just download these snippets, okay? But, so here, I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to name it Sped by Me. And then inside of this folder, I'm going to make a snippet for includes. There we go. So now it's inside of the spared by me directory. So now let's imagine, which we will, but from now on we'll be able to just go click, click, and it'll pop it in there. So that's a time saver, and it's also going to allow any of the video followers that are, that don't want to write it all out. You'll be able to just download the snippets. So that'll be a time saver. So anyway, with that being completed, let's save this. Let's just go back and refresh just to check again. And yeah, everything's fine. Perfect. All right, so the next thing is this header area. So let's see, we've got top, we've got header. Let's collapse this. And then the strategy section. That's that. Strategy will work. Yeah, that's that. So that's here. So we'll go ahead and take both of these. I want to get these out of here. Save. Let's refresh. There we go. So now that whole header area right there is gone. And let's go back to our files, parts. Let's name this one header.php. And so now, come here and I'll put that. And remember, you can just click. And actually, if we want, we can add the, I don't normally like adding the PHP tags inside of my snippets. Sometimes I do. Most time I don't like to, because often you'll be working within PHP tags already. And so if you put PHP tags inside PHP tags, it breaks things. So now we'll just replace menu to header and save. And let's come back and refresh. And there we have it back. So now you can see, so far we've now reduced the complexity of the index.php file by 100 lines almost, and consolidated those particular HTML regions to their own little spots. That way we can work on them independently. And so we're going to keep just kind of breaking this apart and putting things where they go, and we'll, in the index.php page, just kind of brings it all together. So let's go ahead and stop here for a moment, and in the next video we'll continue breaking everything up.